I can't believe this is actually happening. Drive code 9111, what the heck were you thinking? Can you imagine the scene playing out like a bad soap opera in your Korean workplace? From the moment you showed off your BF's picture to that snarky coworker, things have been going downhill. Let's set the stage. You're working long-term in Korea, and your office is all Koreans except for you. That's got to be some sort of cultural shock, right? Well, one of them started acting up after you showed off a photo of your BF. Her name is Brenda. She's been going out of her way to make you feel uneasy with those initial comments on your food choices and family history. But let me tell you, the audacity. She even went as far as asking if your great-grandparents were Nazis. Really, that's just crossing a line. But things got worse when she started making thinly veiled racial remarks about interracial dating. She was basically saying that ethnic homogeneity is good and white girls shouldn't date Korean guys. Oh, it gets better. Fed up with her passive-aggressive behavior, you started ignoring her and avoiding eye contact. And then one day she took the bait, commenting on your looks in front of everyone. You were so angry you couldn't control yourself and shot back that at least you didn't need a terrible nose job to look decent. Wait for it. Wait for it. When Brenda started tearing up and crying, everyone in the office was staring at her and you. Because of your comment, she was exposed for being insecure about her nose surgery. You knew this secret because she had confided in you before the beef began. But man, did you need to say that out loud? I mean, were you trying to make a statement or just vent your frustration? Your boyfriend, drive code 9111'BF, told you were right. But the rest of the office was on Brenda's side and thought you should have handled it differently. They suggested talking privately instead of airing her insecurities in public. So, AITA, were you justified in making that comment about Brenda's nose job? Or did you go too far by blabbing out a personal secret she had confided in you? The consequences are real. Brenda is crying and everyone is staring. Were they the jerk? Drop a comment below. Can you believe this? I got a notification from my hosting provider that someone was using my server as part of their bot network, and I'm not exaggerating when I say, I'm not done. They were using an app to do all kinds of shady stuff. Oh, it gets better. The app was open source, can you imagine? So I thought, how hard can it be? I downloaded the code, modified it to log everything, like a honeypot, and replaced his app with my version. Now let me set this up for you. This guy was using my server without permission. He had registered all sorts of services under one email account and managed to control multiple IRC accounts, Facebook pages, dating profiles, websites, even his backup site for his cell phone. I mean, he was everywhere. And here's the kicker. I knew his phone number, his mom's number, his girlfriend's number. I had his address, his birthday, where he went to school, his favorite foods, and even his music preferences. Talk about a data dump. The escalation? I took everything away from him. Every single account was gone. You know what happened next? I sent an email to his internet service provider, ISP, to try and get more information on him. This is where it gets really twisted. In that email, I said some very unkind things about the monarch of Indonesia. Can you believe it? And here's the plot twist. I threatened to publicly smear the Indonesian monarchy if they didn't give me the info I wanted. The audacity. And guess what happened after that? The hacker disappeared. He just vanished, like he was never there. I've been on a decade-long quest trying to find him, but no luck. 15 years later, and he hasn't resurfaced. The Indonesian lèse-majesté laws are not something to be trifled with. A 15-year prison term for insulting the monarchy is no joke. Were they the jerk? Drop a comment below. Can you believe this? Our narrator has been on the receiving end of some seriously messed up neighbor behavior, and it's just hit an all-time low. Oh, it gets better. Hold on to your hats. So, M lives in a 4-story building with their wife. For the past couple months, they've been dealing with the most ridiculous noise complaints from downstairs neighbors. The first one was so tiny. M's wife had to set her alarm for 5:30 a.m. to get to school on time. Our narrator turned off vibrations and still, complaints? They were harassed in the parking lot. Ugh, the floor/footstep issue is next, but I'm not done yet. The building has hardwood floors with neighbors above them too. They don't stomp, they just exist. It's a normal part of apartment life, but our neighbors down below took it to a whole new level. The AC unit incident was the final straw. M installed an AC unit and finished by 10:00 p.m., but the next day, neighbors cornered them in the parking lot and threatened to call the cops if they heard any noise. That was enough for M. They reported the harassment to the landlord. The confrontation stopped. And then today, Thursday, M had a PTO day. They were vacuuming between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. trying to relax and clean their home. But oh no, someone called 911 because they claimed M was stomping on the floor to spite them. Can you imagine the audacity? Wait for it. A police officer knocked on M's door. I can't even. They genuinely believe M is tracking their schedules just to annoy them. I barely have time to track my own life, let alone theirs. M feels trapped. They've accommodated the neighbors but need to live and walk freely in their home during broad daylight. So were they the jerk for losing patience, or are the downstairs neighbors completely out of line? I don't know about you, but I'm definitely rooting for M here. Were they the jerk? Drop a comment below. Oh my God, can you believe this story? Throwaway has shared an absolute masterpiece of revenge here on r/pro-revenge. 7 years ago, they were able to buy their own place after saving up for a decade and working hard. But there was a catch: it had to be on a shared block with strata title, which meant dealing with neighbors and restrictions on how they could live their lives. I'm not done yet. This guy, let's call him Chad, the real estate agent, knew all about Throwaway's desire for privacy but still listed the property as freehold in the ads. Can you imagine? They found out when Throwaway got a knock on the door from the owner of the neighboring property to discuss insurance. Surprise, surprise, it was strata title after all. Wait for it. Chad refused to accept any blame or offer anything to make things right despite emails and printouts showing that it was freehold. He's just out for himself, I get that, but this isn't over yet. They went through mediation, throwing in the towel because of health issues, then they plotted their revenge. Throwaway found Chad's personal Facebook page, not private, and saw photos from a trip called Boys on Tour. From the anniversary of the sale, for 6 years straight, Throwaway sent flowers with notes. Dear real estate agent, remembering you on this, our special day. She has your eyes. Love L. The notes varied slightly each year, but always included on this, our special day, and a weird reference to a love child. Throwaway also arranged for postcards and letters from the country Chad was on tour in, all signed, Love L. Now here's where it gets wild. This guy recently divorced, lost his home, and is no longer working as a real estate agent because he cheated on his wife. The story goes that his wife found out about the affair when she noticed weird gifts every year on Throwaway's anniversary. And here's the kicker. 1 year before Throwaway bought their house, Chad had gone on holiday, came back with an STD, and somehow convinced his wife it wasn't him. So our special day was actually right around the time he'd been getting intimate sans condom in someone else's bed, only 1 year earlier. He's lost his house, half his retirement savings, and his business. I do feel a bit guilty about all of this, but then I'm reminded that he's a scumbag and that karma is a patient, spiteful, and vengeful bitch. Were they the jerk? Drop a comment below. Can you believe this? It's like a soap opera, but in real life. I'm your narrator for today's story on Am I the Jerk? Let me set the scene. So here we have our protagonist, 50-year-old swimming jacket 3986 SJS, a woman with a 45-year-old husband who runs a business together with one of his brother's family members. The siblings worked there for years, but it wasn't smooth sailing by any means. One day, the brother's son got into some trouble at the facility. Swimming jacket 3986, as the boss's wife, had to step in and correct him. You can imagine how awkward that must have been, but instead of just saying, "Hey, let's talk about this," they simmered with resentment. Then, their business partner, Swimming jacket 3986, was kind enough to offer training to the brother's wife and kids for free. Good intentions, right? Except it backfired because these folks had a chip on their shoulder. They held onto that resentment like a grudge they were planning to cash in one day. Fast forward 4 years, and Swimming jacket 3986, mother-in-law, falls seriously ill. She passes away, leaving behind a grieving family, including Swimming jacket 3986 in-laws. Now, here comes the kicker. During this entire ordeal, Swimming jacket 3986 had to deal with their negativity and never received any condolences from them. But on the day of her mother-in-law's funeral, Swimming jacket 3986 offered her sincere condolences multiple times. Multiple times? Yet even after all that, she didn't get a single word of thanks or sympathy. 2 weeks later, they show up at the memorial service. And guess what? Now, Swimming jacket 3986 husband's brother is upset because his sons weren't approached specifically for condolences again. He thinks she should have done it. I mean, really. Now, here comes the plot twist. Swimming Jacket 3986 has refused to apologize or reach out. She values peace and boundaries more than trying to reconcile with people who never apologized for their actions. They want her back in the facility now that they're feeling sorry about how things went down. But SJS says no way, she's had enough of this drama. This is like a real-life version of Mean Girls gone wrong. Swimming Jacket 3986 offered multiple times, but it seems their need for closure and apologies was just too much to swallow. So, were they the jerk? Let's hear your thoughts below. Drop a comment and let me know if you think SJS handled this situation with grace or if she should have made more of an effort.